Welcome back, Spokane, to another episode of EvoReal Talks. I am your host, Matt Side, with my co-host, Jessica Side. When she introduces...
Hi, everybody.
I'm the co-host. And when I introduce, she's the co-host.
In case you didn't know, that's how it works.
We are continuing to talk about short-term rentals, nightly rentals, Vrbo, VRBO, Airbnb, whatever you want to call them. And we are on... what part are we on today?
I believe that we're on part 7. I could be wrong about that, but I believe that we're on part 7.
We're still discussing setup of the property.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that we're taking so much time on this is because setting up your property takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time, and it takes a lot
and it's very
of
important.
Brain power.
Absolutely very important. Can I just say this? We had
Yes.
a recent comment from a guest
Okay.
that was so pleased with the way our unit was set up and the cleanliness of that unit. Mm-hmm. He said that his wife had such a bad experience at a property they were at recently in Maine that she literally brought Clorox wipes with them to the property.
That is sad.
Because
Actually,
she was worried about it.
Let me just make that note right now, because this is something that I don't actually have written down in my notes, but I thought about it this morning. One of the things that you should make sure that you have is actually cleaning stuff that is available. So we have a closet, right, that's locked, that has a lot of supplies in it and things like that. But we did make a determination that I've been at a place where either one of my kids has made a mess or it's been messy. Mm-hmm. And I have wanted to just do a little cleaning myself, whether that's pulling out the vacuum or wiping down a countertop or wiping up the floor. So make sure that you actually have cleaning supplies available to the guests. Mm-hmm. And I would separate that from the cleaning supplies that you use or your housekeepers use, because
and most of the housekeepers are going to have their own stuff.
It's true.
They don't want to be worried that something got misplaced.
But that's a good note.
It is a good note.
Because the fact that she
cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to your nightly rental. That is, quote, put that in quotes.
Okay.
That's important. It absolutely is. If it's not clean, people don't want to come back and they're going to give you a crappy review.
No, it's very true, but I was just going to say that the fact that she thought that she needed to bring Clorox wipes with her means that the other place didn't have those available. And I think that is a crying shame.
It's bad, that's for sure. All right, Jess, where are we?
Yeah, so last week we were talking about the over 140 items that I had on basically to buy or to obtain, because not everything I bought, right? I was able to go, oh gosh, I have this in my house and I don't really need it anymore.
Sure.
Or, my mom might have something, or whatever. So I had 140 things on the list, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that some of those, and there were a lot of things in this particular unit. So if you're starting from scratch...
It was furnished when we took it over.
Yeah, we replaced most of the furniture, not every single piece, but a lot of it. But there were little things like glasses and wine glasses, and again, we kind of upgraded some of those things, but 140 items is probably on the low side. Well, is on the low side if you are getting it and there's nothing inside.
Sure.
Okay? So I was kind of just going through I'm not going through all of these items, but I was going through some of the items that I wanted to point something out about. So I'm going to the bedrooms now, and one of the things that I put is, so we decided to put down LVP, which is luxury vinyl plank. Life Proof is a company, Home Depot's brand of LVP, and it is very highly rated. I watch a bunch of videos. I know.
Surprise.
Truly surprising. I watched a bunch of videos, and I saw this one guy that took these different planks, not just LVP, but he also did wood planks, things like that, and he threw them into a tub for 2 days. And Life Proof, did fantastic. It did not separate. 2 days in a bathtub. So anyway, for those of you who are looking for a really durable option.
And just a quick side note on the flooring, the beautiful thing about the LVP is that if there's a part of the floor, which actually this reminds me, we need to probably buy a little bit more for backstock because of the lots. But if you don't have to replace the whole floor, if a section gets worn more than another, because you can pull those planks out and put new ones back down. So getting some extra so that you have the same lot so that it looks like it matches is important. But yeah.
Yeah, no, they're really great. So we got that. But that also, so this is the thing I really love about carpet is warm. In my basement, I have carpet because it makes when I go down there with my bare feet, I feel warm. So it was important to me that we had area rugs, and especially area rugs when people get up in the morning and put their feet on the floor, they are standing on a rug and not on that cold plastic floor. Technically, it is plastic. So
it's luxury vinyl.
So, and that brings me to the point of warmth. It is really important that your Airbnb nightly rental feels warm. Now, not just physically, but like everything about it is inviting. Okay. And so this is one of those pieces to me. Having rugs when you put your feet out in the morning is going to be an important piece of that puzzle. The other thing I want to just mention, I think I may have mentioned it last week, but rollaways. So if you're going to have like some type of a rollaway bed that people can pull out, make sure you get a high quality one.
Yeah.
There are ones
the stuff that was in there, honestly, was garbage.
Rickety. You know, it was the kind that had the springs. And so, you know, my kids tested them out because
we're like, should we replace this one?
Yeah. And so they slept in it and they're like, it was comfortable. But at one point, my daughter said it like in the middle of the night was like, boom. Like I don't know if it wasn't open all the way or something, but like scared her. So just making sure that you're getting, and that goes with all of your furniture, making sure that it's not so cheap that someone is going to, we talked about, break it or get hurt or something like that. All right. Another thing that we decided to invest in was an outdoor camera. We didn't want to put cameras inside because I
don't think that's even legal,
you can if you, I believe.
If you disclose it?
If you disclose it, you can do it. That's
creepy.
I would never want to have, to stay in an Airbnb that had cameras inside. Oy. Anyway, but putting them on the outside of the doors allows you to know when people are coming and going and how many people, because if we have a place, and we've talked about this, it's small and it can only accommodate 6 people, and they bring 10 people, guess what, they're going to pay us for that. Well, they're going to get kicked out, but let's say they signed up for 4 people to be there and then they bring 2 extra people. Well, technically our policy says that you have to pay a little bit extra for those 2 extra people. So an outdoor camera is nice, especially when you are far away. The other thing that we were able to do is put the camera inside the storage area at the at our stock, which is kind of cool, which means that we can kind of, oh gosh, we're getting low on toilet paper, or we're getting low on you name it. So we were able to kind of do that too, which was helpful.
I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it gives us a
something.
pretty good idea. And it is, you can zoom in and it's got night vision. Here's the other thing that was really, so we got I think it's Amazon Blink that we got the cameras. But the other really nice thing with that is that it also has a thermometer on it. So I can tell, so our outside storage area obviously is not, I mean, it's exterior, and it does have heat source in there. But if the unit is not being heated because nobody's there and like we're keeping that at a low level, I have a camera set with a 40-degree alarm. So if it hits 40 degrees, it will let me know. And then because we've got our heat set up on a Nest system, I can go into my phone and turn the heat up and make sure that we get, so that things don't freeze out there.
Right.
Because there are things that would get damaged by being frozen. So that's also nice because we can see what the temperature is in that particular unit. So
that's great. Okay, some other things. This is moving to the bathroom, making sure you have a good shower head. Like, there's nothing worse than going to a place and like having a crappy shower head. So making sure you have a good shower head. Thinking about these are just the little things that you got to think about, like your soap dispensers. Like what are you going to put in there? For me, what I wanted to do is do foaming. I like foaming dispensers because it uses up a lot less stuff and reusable, because I don't want to, environmentally, like I'm not excited about buying 1,000 of them and then now we're throwing them away.
Well, and then I mean, the other reality is that what if people have a lot of hair and they use a bunch of shampoo? Now you have to have not just one round but extras so they don't run out, whereas the dispenser
hold on, we're talking about 2 different things. So I'm talking about hand soap,
I'm sorry,
which the foaming soap. So the other thing that we did, and I think that this is a really great way to do it, is for shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. We bought one of those dispensers that actually gets put on the wall, and it locks so no one can tamper with your shampoo. I'm not going to go into stories about that, but I've heard some stories. And then, they stay nice and filled up, and you can see the level, so that housekeepers can come in and go, oh, there's plenty in there. Rather than, and now you're talking about those little tiny things, right?
Yeah.
The last time we went someplace and stayed someplace, we had to call down and have to keep getting more shampoo because there was the bottles were this
tiny.
big. And for my daughter and I who have long hair, we're using up.
And your husband for a little while longer.
Not much longer, folks.
Probably the last recording, or maybe one more before it's gone.
Anyway, so thinking through how you're going to deal with soap and things like that. The other thing that we did, because we have a nice tub with a jetted tub.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to provide each guest with one bath bomb. So just sitting there on the side with a little towel so that, if they wanted to relax, they could do that. So next I want to talk about a few miscellaneous things that came up when we stayed there, when we would, get up to use the restroom or go into the kitchen to get a drink of water. Night lights. I don't know. When we've been to Airbnbs, they usually have these little, you don't know the house. It's different when you know your house and you know your way around.
Right.
And so getting little night lights that we plugged into the hallway and the kitchen and each bedroom, and they can be turned off, but it's nice because when you turn off the lights, they turn on. So in the bathrooms, things like that. That was just a little thing, but it's a nice thing.
Well, yeah, it is helpful.
Also, so this was a last minute thing for me. I had thought about what kind of art I wanted on the wall and what kind of small tchotchkes I wanted and what kind of a theme I wanted and all those kind of.
Do you feel like
Yes.
everybody has to do a theme?
No, I don't think you do. But remember we talked about the X Factor. We talked about something cool that makes it stand out, either when you're looking at the pictures or when you're there. One of the things that we've experienced is we were looking through the cabinetry, and we realized there was a record player and a bunch of records, and we pulled it out, and we were like,
right.
So that kind of fun
place
thing.
That we stayed.
Right. So for me, it wasn't. I did think, well, am I going to do this theme throughout the whole place? And I decided not to do it. The theme that I decided to choose for the living area was film. So we have posters that are film based, and then I bought a vintage video camera,
that's
the
really
small
cool.
little video camera that we put. So that's the tchotchke that I'm talking about. And I bought a film book. Just did a few little things like that. I didn't go crazy with it, but I just gave it that little bit of something, which means something to me because I love movies and I love old films, and so we kind of brought that in. But that's my tendency to think about the big things, right? And then I realized we have no greenery. And greenery is actually really important. It brings that life into the place, even though all of my greenery is fake. It still looks nice. So
Which you absolutely would want in a nightly rental.
Yes.
You don't want to have a plant that you're watering.
Again, unless it's an apartment that's below you, right? You have access to it.
Sure, that you're managing and taking care of.
Which that's one of those things I didn't make that as one of the specific types of Airbnbs, but I certainly believe that, if you have it downstairs, man, you are going to be able to, if it's in your house, you're really going to be able to do an amazing job with that Airbnb. You have the
potential to do an amazing job because we did stay in a downstairs Airbnb at a house.
Oh, yeah.
In Seattle, and it was super mediocre.
Yeah, it was.
Super mediocre.
We couldn't even find forks to eat our food kind of thing.
I mean, it's not just because you as the host are going to make all the difference.
Yeah, for sure. But that was very much a last minute thing. I was like, oh, and I watched a video and someone was like, oh, you need to make sure you have some greenery. And maybe it might have been just a decor video. And so at the last minute, I bought several little plants, little things to put in the bathroom, and a couple of things for other places in the unit. All right, so that is all I'm going to talk about when it comes to the huge list of items that I purchased. All right, so we're going to go back to these are the my process is what we're going through, and that was part of the spreadsheet where I. This is a really long pause, but it's not that exciting. Where I made a spreadsheet.
For dramatic effect.
Where I made a spreadsheet. I did the living room, dining room, and I just was able to break that down as to everything that I need. Okay. The next thing in my process is the process for design. So I know I want to have all these things, and my art category is art, right? Now I got to figure out, what does that look like? What does the furniture look? I know I need a couch. What does that couch look like? How big is it? What color is it? What material is it? And that you have to go through that with every single piece that you are, okay, I'm going to have a bed. Well, what kind of sheets are you going to have on that bed? I suggest you do white for everything, because then you can bleach it and you don't have to worry about matching anything.
Yeah.
But what am I going to put over that? What is the color scheme? So I did like a 3-part series on design and deciding how you're going to
our past
I did like a
episodes.
Master bedroom kind of a thing, but the process is basically the same. Suffice it to say, I do a lot of internet shopping. I use inspiration boards, so you can either use Pinterest to do that inspiration board, or I just will open up, like I use like maybe Wayfair and Pottery Barn and things like that, and I'll just save all of those things into a favorites list.
Sure.
And that kind of gives me my own little inspiration board. And then I save those links inside of my spreadsheet, so I can go, oh yeah, these are the ideas that I had for the couch, and then I have all of those laid out, and then I start to narrow it down.
Which for you is really helpful, because you also you're not just doing it and making decisions, like you like to get that confirmation that this is a good idea from me.
Yep.
Or you'll bring other people in to kind of bounce those ideas around, but it's really helpful for you to then have your spreadsheet and say whatever the title is, couch.
Yeah.
And have 2 or 3 different links to the ideas that you're...
And of course, in that process, in that designing process, is also budget, right? That's all coming into it. So now I'm looking at, okay, what is the gambit and where am I going to land within that gambit? Because you could spend $400 on an Amazon couch that comes and you realize that it's just basically all foam, and it's going to fall apart in less than a year, or maybe even a year. Or you can go all the way up to a $15,000 couch. Well, I don't want to land in either of those places, and so I'm trying to narrow that down. And for me, just as a design, I'm going to say it's a design tip, but it's really the way I do things. Is I like to get the whole kind of picture. I like to kind of know, of all the big things, what am I going to do? Of all the art, what am I going to do? So I might be able to buy all of the furniture, because I know this is the direction I'm going to go with the furniture. Maybe you're going to do a cottage, or maybe you're going to do a boho, or maybe you're going to do modern, or maybe you're going to do like a total cabin, or maybe you're going to do mid-century modern, right? So I can buy then all of the furniture and get that out of my way, and then I can move on to the art, right? And then I can look at all of the art as a whole piece and then buy that. So anyway, that's part of the process. And now the next part is technically the next part is then the planning. Plan, because...
Planning what? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so let's say I've purchased everything. So first of all, I'm a big fan of have everything before you go to do the work, especially if you're talking about having to drive several hours, right? You're going to collect all that stuff in your garage or your basement or wherever you can. In my case, and my mom's garage. Right?
My dad's garage.
That's right.
They had stuff everywhere.
Collecting all of those things, and then you've got a plan. You got to know, the truck, the timing of picking everything up, who's going to help you, what do you expect to do on day 1, day 2, day 3. How are you going to do it?
You're furnishing a house.
Oh my gosh.
Or an apartment, or whatever that is. Like, I think it's important that if you're thinking about nightly rental investment, you need to understand that this is not like a traditional rental where you're buying the property, getting it cleaned up, fixed up, and then you're done with, like, people will furnish their own deal. Like, it's as much work to get that set up as it is to move into a house.
And even more so because, and the reason why, well, more so, I don't know, but I would say it's just as much because you know how when you move into a house, you go, well, we're mostly moved in. I mean, we have one room full of boxes. We'll get to that. Right?
You don't get that option.
You actually have to set it up and be done. So here's what I'm going to tell you. This is not for the faint of heart. We've talked about this before. It is basically a full-time job on top of whatever full-time job you already have. just the planning, just the, all the stuff that I'm specifically talking about. I put countless hours. Actually, we probably could count them. Then you could pay me in trips, girl trips. Sorry,
we'll put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that. Circle back to that another time.
But yes, it is absolutely a full-time job. For us, the more items you have, the more time it's going to take. We actually had to, because we kept the furniture for a few months, we then had to switch out the furniture. So we had to sell some furniture and bring some furniture in.
And I think that I remember months ago now sitting down with somebody, we were just discussing like the amount of effort and the time, and how every weekend for the month of September I was up there doing this, that, and the other thing. And she said, well, why were you doing that? You need to understand that this is nightly rental is more hands-on.
Yeah.
The reason I had to do that was because A, at this moment in time there's this huge shortage of vendors, but B, like could you hire somebody to hang a light fixture? Probably so.
Right.
But the fact that it's far away and access and all these different things, the complexity of that wasn't worth just hanging the stupid light fixture.
Right. And what happens when something goes wrong and the fixture is wrong or something like that? Are they just going to put it on the bed and go, well, let me know when you get that figured out?
That is exactly what they're going to do. And then the other thing too, when you're talking about decor and placement and those, I mean, as silly as it sounds, the amount of time that you spent lining out pictures to know exactly what it was going to look like on the wall.
Yep.
So that's why I didn't have somebody else do it, because they would have done a mediocre job comparatively speaking, because they don't have any ownership.
Right. If you're the kind of person that doesn't have a vision, right, you could hire somebody else and they could do the whole kit and caboodle, but that's certainly not who I am. I knew what I wanted, and so we had to be there to do it.
And I will just say this, if you're hiring somebody else to do the whole kit and caboodle, that's where you get a not great experience for your guest, because there's no personality to it unless you're hiring a professional at it. You can
hire somebody that's really great. I'm saying
like
for the whole thing.
Like an interior designer that plans it and executes on it. Sure.
Time versus money.
Absolutely.
That's what it is, right?
Absolutely.
Time versus money. Okay, so expect a fair amount of time for setup. For us, it was 4 weekends that we did that. Now, we weren't all there that whole time, but it would have been helpful.
We were most of the time.
It would have been helpful.
And we had a 3-day weekend as one of them, too, at the beginning.
And we had our 2 kids that were helping us, and they really did help us most of the time. I had a brother that came. My mom came. So the more people you have,
the faster it's going to go.
The faster it's going to go.
Vincent hauled more cardboard out than any 10-year-old probably
has ever done in his whole life. It's true. Okay. So the closer it is to your home, the easier this setup process will be. There was a ton of cardboard. I've seen professionals like on YouTube that set up a very simple Airbnb in one very long day, like a 12, 14, 16-hour day. But those were apartments, like 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartments. So if you've got a place that's, 13, sleeps 13 people, and is a huge cabin or something, that's going to take some time.
Which adds value if you can buy it furnished with furnishings that you like and want to keep.
Yeah.
Like if you, not just the value of the stuff, but the value of the time to get the stuff and set the stuff up.
Correct. Okay, so we've kind of talked about this already, but there are companies out there where they have whole packages for houses. So you can, I'm sorry, I don't remember what these are, but you can go, we have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. This is the style we want. And they will literally send you, boom, a package to furnish that house.
Nice.
I don't know about the accoutrements for that. Do they send you
how much personality it comes with?
No, accoutrements does not mean that at all. Accoutrements is the extras.
Not a food? It's a food term.
It's not. It's not a food term.
So next to the appetizers or the accoutrements?
It's okay. Anyway, I don't know what other things come with that, or if it's just, you get your chairs, your dining room, your, that kind of stuff. So, but there are companies out there that do that. All right. Now, one other thing, this is a general tip that I want to give you, and that is bedding. You should have no less than 2 sets for every single bed. We actually have 3 sets, and the reason that we did that, and when I say sets, I'm talking about like your sheets and things like that. So we have the one that's on the bed. We have 1 set that's in the closet because, you know what, sometimes something happens and the guest actually needs to change the sheets or do something, right? And then because of the way our housekeepers do it, they actually take all the bedding and they do the laundry away from the property. Now we have a washer dryer there, but they don't do it there. I think they can get through way faster.
Take way too long.
So we have those 3, so we're able to rotate those things through. So make sure you have 3 sets for every single bed.
And since Jessica hasn't looked in the closet recently, there are some that the 3rd set in the closet doesn't even exist anymore. So who knows where those are. But so having 3 is helpful because they're at least being able to change it out.
That's right.
I'm sure they're just in a bin that we need to separate somewhere down the road.
That's right. All right.
Management.
So the last thing that I want to go over is just the signs. So I've talked about the fact that I have done several notes and signs, and I have some that are really small, and I have some that are a little bit bigger, and I have some that are even bigger than that. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of those items here. So for us, these were important. This is a label. So I have label and sign. They're kind of a little bit different, and I also have the word tag. That's just my own thing. So I have a label on the knife set that says, please hand wash. We have nice.
2 of them, actually.
Yeah. And
2 labels that
right
say
across
the same thing.
I have a tag that says, no wet clothes on the furniture, because there is a pool. If you've got a hot tub or a pool, I don't really want people jumping out of there and even being slightly damp and sitting on the nice leather couch. So I have a note right above the couch on there. And I do use like a Velcro, so it stays on really well, but I could also change them out if I needed to. A little like Velcro dots. I have a sign that says, let us know about broken stuff. So something out there that we basically tell them, hey, if something's broken, let us know. We want to fix it. You're not gonna be in trouble. We have notes on the rollaways with instructions on exactly how to put it together, because I don't want that, I want to make sure it's locked in place, so I have instructions on making sure of that. We have a tag, a large little sign that talks about the Wi-Fi. Everybody wants to know what the Wi-Fi is, so that's important. Instructions for the pour-over coffee. We have something that says, please hand wash the pour-over setup. We have instructions for the kettle. Again, these are small instructions. They're just like 1, 2, 3, just so people kind of know.
Yeah, or sometimes like 1.
Very, very simple stuff.
Like the tag for the pour over is, if you're not familiar with, then visit this website, kind of a thing.
In the bathroom, we have don't flush anything but toilet paper in the toilet. That's an important one. We have one about turning on the fans when you're taking showers. We have one in the shower. No, we don't actually have this. I was going to do this, and then Matt talked me out of it. But just making sure that people understand that the fan needs to be on, and to put the shower curtain inside the shower is an important thing. I know these are silly little things, but people screw this kind of stuff up, and then you end up with the repairs. Making sure people know where the garbage disposal is. So just a little tag on the switch for that, and a little thing that says, make sure you run water. Not everybody knows how to run a garbage disposal. Not everybody has one. So, and I've heard of those getting destroyed because people are not turning on water. We have instructions for the washer, instructions for the dryer. We have a label to remind them to not use the towels in the condo, but to use when you're at the pool. We have another little sign that says instructions for the Nest. Some people don't know how to use a Nest thermostat, so just a little 1, 2, 3 instructions, and these are all nicely laminated and put on there. And then the other thing that I have done is I have labeled where things go in the cupboards, and
that's huge. It's really helpful.
Yeah,
people don't always follow it, including the cleaners. When I went up, but at least then when I go there, I know.
Yeah, we can categorize things. We know where things go, and it also means that hey, this says that there are nesting bowls. Let me see if I can go find those.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Those are the tags and the signs that we have that we think are helpful.
And I will say, the staying there is important, because one of the things that I noticed is I think we need to put labels like what light switches turn on what, because it's a little bit wonky. At our place.
Exactly.
So anyway, I was there and I couldn't find the dumb light for the living room.
Absolutely.
But all right, so with that, I think we've probably going to wrap it up for today. So next week we're going to be talking about, we're going to finish up setup. I think we can finish it next week.
Next week we are going to talk about the guest book, and that is I'm going to talk to you about every single page of the guest book. It's really important. I'm going to give you some ideas on some easy ways to get started with it, and I think it's going to be super helpful.
Cool. Well, we'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.
Bye.